Good evening, everyone. As the clock strikes 6:46 p.m. on this Christmas day, I'm going to be bringing you a match of more Hades. Honestly, I'm starting to get sick of Hades myself, but I wanted to feature this match because of what's going on inside of it and the things that it brings up to my mind to talk about. This one is going to be a two-parter, I assume, on the matter and the subject. And it's going to be about God potentials in God roles. Now, I've already talked just a small bit about roles and places that they should be on them, but we haven't talked about the potential that goes past it. So, today we're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts of the potential a God can have. For this one, since we can't get enough of them, we're gonna talk about Hades. Now, when it comes to gods and what they can do, just because something is one role doesn't mean that it cannot fulfill the position of another. Now, in this case, if you look at our spread, we actually have two tanks, myself and Bacchus. We also have a little odd thing going on with the other side where they have a mage-centric team. Now, right off the bat, I wanted to point a few things out. Number one, Herc should not be jungling because of the player's attitude towards jungle, and how he's not aware of the clear time of Hades being faster than Hercules once you're able to get to their second and third level. The second thing is how, after a certain point in this match, he wanted to start shaming and blaming me for things happening on my lane, when, from the start, had he done what it was being asked of him, or when it was being asked, things would not have been a problem. And the other thing of what a god can and cannot do. Particularly here, mine. Now, when it comes down to Hades, in terms of tanks, he's one of the many tanks that actually has very high solo capacity. Now, when I say solo, I'm not speaking of solo lane, I'm speaking of attacking things on his own. With his ability damage, he's very capable of holding on his own, but that doesn't mean that he's able to always do it. Hades is a very special snowflake in the fact that he's able to do things that normally would be impossible. And it's because of these things that it puts him in very bad situations sometimes. For example, New Vulcan. Knowing that I was going to die doing that, I did that purely to demonstrate how capable he is attacking, but not so capable as he is holding and defending. This is a problem when it comes to Hades. He is a glass cannon of the magical tanks. He's meant to get in and deal damage, but that doesn't mean he's able of taking it as well as everybody else. In terms of tanks in this match, Hades cannot take as much punishment as Bacchus. That is a fact. It is the Bacchus passive to take reduced damage to everything. And using the tank boots, I'm sure they're called the plated boots instead of the reinforced, he can take even less. But you see, that's not even the issue that comes up in his apparent. But moving on, Hades is capable of many things: solo lane, mid lane, as well as duo, and jungle. The fact that he has a sustain that heals him, and he can do it every so often enough that it isn't so much of an issue, it's very good. The fact that he can detonate combos with it is another thing that is inherently good about it. Yet the problem is that people don't seem to understand that he can do that. Now, honestly, I understand why. It's because nobody's actually talked about it. Nobody's... Actually, I shouldn't say nobody, because I didn't talk about the theory crafting places. But on a general basis, there is a rare case where people actually go out of their way to talk about what a god is capable of. And Hades is capable of jungle. He is very, very capable of jungle. He is as great a jungler as Hercules. Even better if you consider the fact that he can start a Doom Orb and have it finished faster than Herc can start a Heartseeker and finish it. But because of my team being beginners, who were just getting into the new rotation and the new rank system, and were getting up in their normal match queues, they were not aware of that, and they were of what I'd like to call the typical player. They assumed what was and what wasn't, and when they assumed, they made an ass out of me and Herc made an ass of himself, especially because of how he continued to do things that should never happen when you're a jungler, which is not doing what's being asked of you and not coming when called. Now, because of me being Hades, and being able to do Hades like Hades does Hades because Hades is Hades, I'm able to sustain him long enough for Hercules to come up from the side and gank. Now, because of the way that I play my Hades, I'm able to stick him with basic attacks before Thor inevitably dunks me and gets away with the kill. This is going to be something that happens very often on left lane, and because of how Hades refuses to do anything about it, because he keeps walking off to other lanes when he should be keeping his eye on left because he knows Thor is going to be coming over here because he just easily dunked me and did a lot of damage with his basic attacks and his ultimates drop and his 3, so that he knows that if he really has to, and not really has to, but if he has the opportunity to, he can get a free kill without ever doing anything at all past that. Another perfect example of what I'm saying when I know that this person was not skilled at what they were doing is that Hercules did the Mana buff, but he didn't hold the lane away from the tower, knowing that the wave was incoming and knowing that I was on my way. These were things that Hercules did not take care of and did not do. And as immediately as it happened, as he goes, here comes incoming things. Just saying. But moving on from my point, Hades is a part of a very large group of gods in Smite that have the capabilities of fulfilling other roles that normally people would assume they can't do. Hell is a very good jungler, despite being a support mage. Ra is a very, very capable mid laner, despite being a support mage. To the point that Ra sniping has become an MLG troll practice in videos for since I don't even remember how long. Probably since before the Revolution patch, when Vintage Smite was just getting to the point. Probably right after, or before, or beside the addition of stuff. Your right tower is under attack. In particular, I'd say it was when Fenrir came out, but not before Fenrir was fully a thing. That's what I'd say. Your middle tower is under enemy missing middle. Yeah, just somewhere after I did my mouth. It's somewhere right about there. But again, as I said before, every time he had a chance to, dunking. And when this happened, look where Herc was. Again, just saying. But back to my point. Hades and Hell and a whole myriad of other gods that I can't think of at this moment are a group of gods that are capable of doing things that normally people assume they can't do. And because they are capable of doing these things, people take it upon themselves to assume what they could do with them and what they couldn't do with them. And when it's people who may or may not subscribe to the idea of theory crafters, and may or may not be aware of how theory crafters work, or may not be aware of how training yourself to understand something in the jungle could work, there's a very, very large disconnect between those two things. Especially when it comes down to when people want to shame and blame others for the fall-off that a person goes through. Now when it comes for this, the reason why they would not allow me the ability of doing jungle for some odd reason was because they assumed, oh, he can't jungle, he can't do this. Well, at the same time, not only was I holding my lane, if not winning, I was capable of doing many things. Meanwhile, Poseidon, who was supposed to be middle, and Hercules, who's supposed to be jungle, is being out-farmed, both of them, by Isis and by Thor. Meanwhile, not only am I winning against Vulcan one-on-one, but I'm so much of a threat that I have to be ganked 2-on-1 on left lane. Yet, because you refuse to do something, I cannot keep the lane alive forever. And knowing that we're going to lose 2 lanes for the price of 1 push, I had to make a choice to do something better. And it will come up as a thing later that will be discrepanced to my face. Now, the problem with why I, in this particular match, shouldn't have been solo lane is because of the fact that Vulcan would have easily died to Hercules. If you paid attention to how high Herc was doing damage when he was able to gank first with his Lion's Fist, I forget the exact name of it if I'm not looking at it, but by the way he was able to come in here with his 1 stun, he was able to do things faster and far beyond the norm. Yet, because of the fact he refused to be this lane, he left me the inability of being able to better protect myself and better gank for solo lane. And because of these things, and the fact that Vulcan is Vulcan, and the fact that Thor is Thor, he's not able to handle it, because he is inherently weaker. Instead of having his 3 farmed up to the point that it would have been capable of re-healing all of the damage that he just took just then, he instead does not have these things. And because he does not have these things, he is going to die a very painful death. Meanwhile, had I been jungle, he could have held the lane on his own and with other people. He could have been able to pull them into the tower for a easy power ultimate. Meanwhile, my clear that is inherently faster than his and is going very quicker than his could have been able to do things. Yet, it couldn't, because these things were not capable and not possible for me to get done. But that's just a couple of things that never truly get discovered and get discussed.
Your right tower is under attack. On my way.
But, yes. As you can see, there are 2 lanes that are about to be lost. I have to save one of them. While solo is my lane, middle is Poseidon's. And in terms of logistics, it'd be easier for me to help the middle than it would for me to go all the way back to left to help the side. And the fact that he and I have a gank opportunity that we are able to fulfill right here, I'm still shamed and blamed for left lane going down, despite the fact that it was Hercules' job of being able to do things. Cop tries to shame on me for it. Right there. And I explained to him what's going on since he was focused in his fight on right in the duo. Yet, stuff happens and still being blamed for the things that go on here.
Your team has destroyed a right enemy tower.
That's typically what happens in almost any case when it comes up to a person and things. And it does get annoying after a while.
Defend.
It got so annoying to the fact that they kept making excuses and kept making bad plays that I myself had to actively choose to carry them.
I'll defend.
And because of me making that choice, we were actually able to pull this game off. But it would have failed had I not had the skill and dedication to do it. Because at a point, they try not quitting not once, not twice, but I think a whole total of 3 times almost. Although I think they physically attempted to try surrenders at least 3 times. It got so bad to the point that they actively kept trying to use me as an excuse to justify why we were losing. Oh, Hades not helping. Hades is never in the fight. Something according to that means. Meanwhile, what I was doing was pushing lanes, attempting to take towers, and trying to get us back in the game because we were making no progress doing what we were doing. Because as you can see here, me immediately trying to go for kills to make them pay back for what they did doesn't work. I try to pick up the kill on Hercules, he hammers out. Still trying to stick him, stuff doesn't happen. Try to chase him down. Vulcan's being attacked, and Herc and I try to go after him. Bacchus, not even paying any attention, doesn't even realize what's going on, completely lets him go scot-free. That's what happened when I attempted to go for kills. And I knew that if this was going to be what was going to happen, that this was a problem that needed to be solved. Now, same time, over here, as I stop trying to focus for kills and I attempt to do something to counter jungle, because Thor needs to be stopped in his leveling, I am approached upon by an Anhor and an Athena. Meanwhile, when middle lane needs to be pushed, they're taking a Gold Fury. Because! Not exactly sure why they wanted to, or why they rationalized that being a good choice other than taking a tower, but that's what they did. Now, this is just going to be my personal opinion on this, because my professional opinion. Because my personal opinion is a lot more toxic than it needs to be. But in my professional opinion, Gold Fury, as well as the gold gains in this current version of Smite, is useless. The reason why it's useless is literally because everything is at the point of being anything. And the reason why it's anything and everything being everything and anything is because the gold gains are very low for killing people. There is no benefit in really going try-hard capable to do everything and anything possible, because everything and anything possible. There is no reason for these things. None of them make sense, and there is no reason to go about them the way that most people attempt to go about them. So, in terms of what I was capable of doing, and what the team was capable of doing, we should have been going after towers, then we should have been going after kills. Because honestly, all that fight was them stalling for time. And because my team was too focused on trying to get kills, as I was too focused on trying to get kills, we suffered for it. Whereas when we immediately made up for it, and I forced us to go after objectives because I refused to allow us to lose because of their stubbornness or because of my pride and my anything, we were able to come back and be able to salvage the game. But that's just how important and just how detrimental it was for us not doing what we needed to do. They weren't able to rationalize at all why these things weren't being done. Yet, because they went about it the way they wanted to go about it, and I was able to do what I had to do and what I knew I had to do to get what I needed done, which was taking down these towers, the inner towers first off, and then making sure that I was able to ward properly, to be able to prepare for them. We were able to get back a little bit of the momentum we lost, trying to just be thirsty and hungry for kills. My team never stopped being thirsty and hungry for kills, actually. And there was a point where they continued to shame and blame me, even using me as an excuse of why things were not going their way. And that's mostly because of how they assumed I was not capable of my role, or what role I was capable of fulfilling, because I was the god that I chose. As you can see here, I pull off that tower to try to help him out. Yet, instead of approaching his assistants so that he can get a better chance to stay alive, he continues going towards the tower where he knows he's going to die, and continues doing it. And again, me trying to be greedy, I try to stick Thor. Thor stuns, Athena taunts, and Thor is able to get away scot-free. Yet, where I attempt to just hold her in place to make sure that she cannot get off lane and she cannot escape, meanwhile, all these rotations attempt happening around me, and I pay attention not trying to stick kills, but trying to stay alive, I'm able to hold them a little bit longer so that they can attempt to do something. Yet, instead of being able to just get there to help the fight and help the team, they assume that we have a chance to escape, which, obvious to me, we don't. Yet, meanwhile, while this is happening, our jungle, Hercules, instead of warding, instead of trying to help the fight along by not doing what he's currently doing, which is buffing himself, is buffing himself while people are dying. And it's only when the fight gets closer to him that he actually attempts to do something. Yet, he immediately gets neutralized, and his efforts of buffing himself go completely wasted. These are just a couple of things that come to mind when I attempt to rationalize to other people what I see and what I have to deal with when I am playing my matches with other people, and when I'm playing them either seriously or when I'm playing them for whatever it is I'm playing them for. But to get a little bit more back to the core point of the video and the discussion, Hades and his role is something that normally shouldn't ever be a true problem in terms of it being a problem. Most of the reason why is because we are many things. He himself is many things. And because of him being these things, it's very capable of Hades to do what other people can't do. Like right here, I'm able to get myself completely into a better position because I can hop walls. And because I'm able to do that, I'm able to get onto another lane and stop it from being pushed by minions solo. Because. Now, had I been anything else, I probably would not have been able to do that successfully. And because I was able to do that, those people on the enemy team waste their time trying to attack us instead of saving their tower on right, or left rather, and we're able to get into a better position from what we were just in. Because I am Hades and I am a tank, yet I was building more inherent magical power than I was protections for protections cause protections. I'm able to become a off mage myself. Or rather, I was capable of being a mage for the sake of being a mage. But when it came towards me doing what needed to be done, I needed to be somewhat of an off tank, yet at the same time, more of a mage than I was a tank. Which, because Hades is Hades, and because I was using the Doom Orb with the Bancroft's talent, I was capable of doing faster clears and more damage stackies to be able to get things to work my way than normally before. And that was solely because of the fact that I chose to do these things. And it wasn't really a question in my mind whether I could do it or whether I couldn't do it, but that I needed to do
My
it.
team has destroyed a middle enemy tower. An ally has been slain.
Now, when it comes down to it, as you can see there with that fight on middle, I already know for a fact that
Retreat.
everything that can be possible will be simple. And as simple as it was for me to retreat, it was simple for my allies to come and actually help with the tower, seeing that it's very low and all it needs to do is be pushed in a fight, which they were not doing.
I'll defend the Gold Fury.
And meanwhile, while they tell me to retreat off light, they do not push left. Or when they tell me to retreat off left, they do not tell me to push left. To the point that I am almost killed by this incoming gank because incoming gank, and I do everything within my power to make sure that I don't die, which would have been impossible had I not been Hades. I wouldn't have had the fear to get Athena off my spine, I wouldn't have the power of hopping walls and hopping lanes to get away from them, and I would have died completely. Yet meanwhile, while we need this tower, where's my allies? Getting a Gold Fury that we do not need, that they don't even have the capabilities of going after. Logic. Just logic. It was this type of logic in the roles and in what needed to be done that kept getting on my ever-loving nerves.
Retreat.
Because all of those things that they tell me that I couldn't do, I'm doing here. I'm quickly getting rid of the jungle. I'm ganking the solo lane on a regular, semi-regular basis. I'm doing so many things and more that they're not capable of explaining away. That they can't simply just say, oh, you can't do this because you can't do this. All of these things that they said I couldn't do, I'm doing. Yet, to them, it was impossible. Yet all it took from me is being able to be where I needed to be because my team was with me, rather than not being able to be where I needed to be because they weren't with me. Right here, against Thor, perfect example. The team is where they need to be, which is right on top of Thor's backside. This time it can't get away like it did last time. And I was able to, and that was able to be a possibility because of the sole fact that I made it my duty to make sure he went down. My role in the fight went from being just a tank to being one of the main forms of magical damage and crowd control, which was great because that's what we needed. As you can see here, as I discovered after focusing her out, knowing what she was doing, I see Athena trying to ward. And it was there in that little fight there, hitting with basic attacks, that I was able to notice, hey, you're pretty soft to me. And later, I start taking advantage of the fact that I can do high amount of magical power against her to get things done, to be able to get what I needed done. These are things that I was capable of figuring out just on the fly, whereas my team couldn't do them even calculated. And I knew, better than they did, that all those things that they were doing there were things that were not going to help if they did not get the tower. So knowing that I had the capabilities of doing what I was doing, I was able to get them to continue engaging. And with that, I was able to swap focus from one lane to another and completely take advantage of the enemy in ways that they probably didn't know was possible. And with my power as the mage fighter, as I'll call it, Hercules and I, with Hercules being in her face, and with me being the guy doing the CC, are able to down her and keep her from escaping. My entire role being to do the damage. These were things that they told me I couldn't do because Hades couldn't do them. Yet, again, proving them wrong, time and time again. Now, it sounds a little bit more like QQ than it is anything else, and it honestly is. It does. It is. Because I do not like hearing people tell me what something can and can't do when I know it can do more than those things. The sole fact that I was able to win back this game just by doing what I did is a fact that these people did not know exactly what they were talking about. Because I knew what it took, and I knew that they didn't have what it took to get what we needed done for what it took.
An enemy has been slain. It's a trap.
Now, it's somewhere at this point that my role shifted from being more of a mage fighter to becoming the basic every multi-tool, cause the multi-tool. Knowing that they had the entire path done, I made it upon myself to destroy wards. All the wards. I then warded my path of escape and my path of egress for the tower, and I proceeded to push the tower. Because of this, I knew that they couldn't waste time not coming to fight me. So, sure enough, things begin to develop. I know one of them already backed because I saw them leave from one fight to get another. And because I'm here on my own, ready to push this and get the thing done, I'm able to heal myself up prior to it, and able to get it down before the inherent backups show up to try to get me. In this case, Athena and Thor. The fact that I'm able to get that down, and that they cannot simply just do anything to me, is because of how I was able to plan that. Something that literally just took 1, 2, and 3, killing the wards, warding the lane, and then pushing the tower, and I did it on my own, where my team refused to do it as a group, was how I knew. This is these are the simple things that should not be a problem for anybody to know. It's not a matter of who can and who can't. It's not a matter of, are you skilled, are you not skilled, can you not do things, are these things that you cannot do, or these things that are too hard for you. It's a simplicity of knowing how to follow through. And my team, they didn't know how to follow through. So, I simply picked up the slack where they kept leaving it off. And because I kept doing that, we were able to consistently succeed time in and time again. But, moving on. When it comes to mind, when I attempt to think of things that are important and that are not, when it comes to Conquest matches, the one thing that I can say is important about it is the jungle and the buffs in the jungle, and the importance of these buffs in the jungle. When it comes to the jungle itself, and the things that normally are inside of them, the buffs are highly contested because the buffs are just good. But it doesn't matter if it's the mana, it doesn't matter if it's power, it doesn't matter if it's speed, or if it's just the fact of having the visibility of the jungle to make things happen. It is a very difficult and hard bet to say that a person and another person are these things because they are these things. Or rather to say, a person who's capable of literally keeping an enemy fended off is not good at their job and is not capable of fending people off just because they can't do what they normally do on a regular basis.
Retreat! Retreat! Retreat!
It's not that hard to be able to do what a lot of people seem to debate is hard. Like right here. This Phoenix can easily die if my allies just simply go for it. They don't. Now, in fairness, there was a wild envoy that showed up from behind. Yet, immediately with him backing away because he knew he was in a bad position, I keep inciting my friends. Get in there, stop waiting, so that I could be able to pull off this combo right here.
Retreat! You have slain an enemy. Retreat! Retreat!
No, that was pretty MLG level, if I do say so myself, but that was very, very tame in terms of actual tactics. But that's as simple as it comes down to when you're thinking of anything and everything when it comes to the lanes. That's as simple as it gets when you gotta do things and things gotta get done. But that's not something that people like talking about in the community, or at least in the MOBA community as I think of it. Smite, League, Dota, all of them have communities that are very, very up in the air. And each and every one of them have their own comprised metas for their modes that are similar to Conquest. Now, when it comes to us in Smite, it's not that hard to know what is and what isn't. For us, it's as simple as knowing what you can and what you can't do with your gods and champions. For me, it's as simple as knowing, can I do this? Can I do damage? Can I do these things? Or any other one thing that I could think of. Like here, I know I can deal with Thor. I know that he doesn't have a prayer. I know that I can be able to kill Vulcan. I know that he doesn't have a prayer. I know that I can do damage to Athena, and as long as there's a melee fighter with me, I can deal with her. There is no prayer for her either. I don't think to myself, oh, I can't do this. This is impossible. These things, all of these plays are too hard. I don't think to myself that as an actual answer. I don't think to myself that that's a possibility. I don't even consider it. I just do what I know I can, and I don't worry about anything else. Basically, I know my role, and I'm playing my position. I know what I am, I know what I'm doing, I know what I intend to do, and I intend on doing it to my best ability. That is why all of these things in the match that I make happen. Because I don't make excuses, I follow through. Whereas in the Smite community, it's normally not a thing for them to do that. They don't know, or I should rather say not they don't know, but the community at large, as a group, may not be aware and may not care about the intricacies of this and how that works. Which to me is highly funny and very, very disconcerting. Because no matter how many times I go over it, no matter how many times I actually think of and debate with people back and forth about these things that are important, I always seem to hear people telling me what something can and can't do and what is and isn't meta and what is and isn't pro, yet at the same time that I hear these things, I don't see these people making these physical attempts to make these things happen. I see them making excuses for them. I see them saying things that are capable and then them not following through with it. Sites like Tier Monster, which are theory crafting sites, where basically a person selects items off the screen list and they are able to figure out what in a build can be best used to make something happen. Whether it be for something that may be a full damage build, whether it be something that be for a conservative defensive brawler build, something that be for something of any type of any kind. No matter how many times they go over it and how many times they try to decide what capable is and what capable isn't on sites and for people who visit said sites and decide what can be done from said sites, it never ceases to amaze me how they go about what is and what isn't, yet never truly speak of how things can be pushed further than the limits of what they look like. Which I can understand, but at the same time, I choose to politely agree to disagree. So, that, with no further ado, is the first half of that little discussion I intend on having on the subject. In this video, I discussed the roles of things and how they are, and how they can be better than what they appear to be. The next one, I may be discussing about how those roles and how you choose to play them can affect the entire momentum that a team has. Now, if anybody wants to be able to discuss about any of the topics and things that I was speaking about in this video, please feel free to leave comments. And please do not be afraid to leave a like or to give a shout out to somebody who was in this match. But as always, our time has come to a close, and for me, on this very, very bone-chilling Christmas, what is it? Yeah, Christmas Day. It's very, very hard to do things like this when, literally, in my basement, I try to wiggle my fingers around, and it feels like I'm spreading out sausage fingers. But, since I don't know what you celebrate, and I don't know what you are for what you are watching this video, I just want to wish everybody out there a very happy holidays, and happy whatever it is that you believe in and celebrate. For BonuStage Entertainment, my name is Ran. And as appropriate as it may be, Merry Christmas to all! And to all, good night, everybody!